What's going on, everybody? On YouTube, Steve here, Raiken Profit, RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another video. Man, I've got a lot of Legos back there. I'm not sure if you could see them, but I've got a deal that I'm about to be meeting up with a woman, going to be selling a whole bunch of Legos for $125, and I popped on the whole thing of Legos, plus a bunch of video games, Mario games, systems for 70 bucks. So I'm making a killing on this deal. But anyways, in today's video, I want to talk about the worst times to go to thrift stores. When are the worst times that thrift stores just, they're not going to do well? You're not going to make money. I haven't done very well in these times going to thrift stores. So I kind of want to talk about that, right? So in general, I'm going to give you an answer that you may or may not like, but there really is no worse time to go. I'm going to talk about some times that aren't optimal, but really there's no worse times, right? Like Gabriella said, Latina Hustler, when they are closed. Exactly, because you really don't know when there is going to be a deal there. You don't know when a new clothing rack's going to come out. You don't know when the bins are going to come out. You don't know when maybe just a random item was in back and they threw it on the shelf, or there was a return or an issue. There really is no worst time to go. I can tell you in general, I prefer the weekdays over the weekends. I never really do well during the weekends, generally because I find they're not putting out as much inventory. I find that there's a lot more competition because people are typically, a lot of resellers work full-time jobs. So on the weekends, they're going out. Also, the general public is smashing the thrift stores during the weekend. So I generally find that the best times for me are during the weekdays, typically mornings and early afternoons. I find that typically later afternoons, it slowly starts to decline in terms of profitability here in Connecticut for me personally. But you've got to take that with a grain of salt, because there have been times where I have hit the jackpot of all mother jackpots, whatever you want to call it, mother loads, right before the thrift store closed. So really, you know, one thing that I recommend doing if you're brand new to thrifting, and I had my mother do this for a long time and it helped her out a lot, is get yourself a little notebook, right? Something like this. Get yourself a little notebook, and every time you go to the thrift store, write down what time you went and write down how well you did. And you'll start to see a pattern over time of what thrift stores do better at certain times, days of the week, so on and so forth. So it's definitely a great tip right there. But in general, I like thrifting during the weekdays. I like thrifting earlier on, early afternoons tend to do better for me. But really, at the end of the day, the more you go, the better chance you're going to have of making money, because you really can't generalize and say, you know, I'm not going to go at this time, or I'm not going to go on this day, right? You'll start to recognize patterns. But yeah, like Gabriella said, you know, the worst time to go to the thrift stores is when they're closed, because you're not going to get in for sure. So, you know, feel free to communicate with the managers. That's a great tip right there. Build a rapport, build a friendship with the workers, the managers, and say, hey, you know, are there certain days that you don't put out inventory? Because I'm not going to tell you exactly which store it is, because I don't want to give away this super awesome secret in my general area. But there's a store, and they told me that on certain days they don't put out new inventory. So that was like, you know, I avoid those days. Hey, thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. I didn't see what your question was. Let me see if I could pull it up on the screen. What are the best places for Black Friday deals for resale? That's going to be a whole nother video right there. I would recommend checking out my buddy Jordan Malik's Black Friday guide, which actually shares with you 250 products that you can resell from various retail stores. So there's hundreds of stores that you can buy from. If you want to check that out, go to RaikenProfit.com/Black Friday guide. RaikenProfit.com/Black Friday guide. That's definitely a really good resource that I would recommend checking out. And again, it'll share with you 250 products that you could be on the lookout for this upcoming Black Friday. So he's been putting out that guide for about 5 or 6 years now. I promoted it last year and people had success with it, so I'm promoting it again. I'm looking forward to it as well, because I'm planning on doing some Black Friday sourcing. But yeah, the worst times to go to the thrift stores, number one, is when they're closed. And number two, you know, I would say build patterns. Get a notebook out, write down what days you go, what times you go, and start to determine when are the best times. Obviously, when they're not putting out inventory, like for example, Savers, they don't put out inventory on one day during the week over here, right? So you want to figure out what that day is. You also want to figure out what are the times that new inventory is typically coming out. You know, at Goodwill in the morning, they're always bringing new stuff out. And even on a couple days during the week, they're putting out new inventory around like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, right? Build relationships with the workers, with the employees, build rapport, talk with them, communicate with them. John and Pam says Salvation Army on Saturday or Wednesday, twice a month. Half off sales are some of the best times to go. Salvation Army here in Connecticut, Wednesdays, half off. Great time to go. Excellent time to go. Savers, once or twice a quarter, they have a 50% off time, 50% off sale. Great time to go. Goodwill, Sundays are an excellent time to go here in Connecticut because the color changes over. We have a color system and a new color goes half off. So that's another great opportunity right there. John and Pam says our Goodwill puts out new stuff all day long. So depending on where you live, like for example, I'm actually across the street from a Goodwill right now. You might be able to see it. How do you like my little tripod? But I'm in Manchester, Connecticut right now. That Goodwill across the street, highest grossing Goodwill in all of Connecticut. I'm about to hit it up right after I get an egg omelet that I'm waiting for right now. So a place like that, they're going to be bringing stuff out all the time. So there really is no worse time to visit. Again, I prefer the weekdays over the weekends. I prefer earlier on in the morning, afternoons versus later, just because of competition, so on and so forth. If you're going to mom and pop thrift stores or your Goodwill's kind of small, like here in Connecticut, there's a Goodwill in a town called Bloomfield. Sucks. It's really bad. They're not putting out new inventory all the time. They don't have a lot of inventory that gets donated. So when's the worst time to go there? Pretty much all the time. But you want to know what? I'm kind of joking because I don't live very close to there, so I don't go often. If I went often, I'm sure I would start to discover patterns, and I would start to learn like when are the best times to go there. John and Pam says just had eggs and muffin McDonald's. Oh man, those things are so good. I'm staying off the bread, so I like to stick with like lower carb. Plus I have like a gluten intolerance, and wheat, so I have issues with that. Mr. Sadie, what up, Bubba? Never a bad time to stop in unless they're closed. Exactly. So if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a big favor and smash that like button down below. You know, I really love making videos for you guys, and hopefully I'm able to drop a couple gold nuggets in these videos for you guys, or just motivate you, or just, you know, bring the community together. It's a lot of fun connecting. It's a lot of fun talking shop and, you know, chatting about the different topics that have to do with thrift stores and garage sales. And it's cool just to build up the various income streams. You know, I'm getting ready to go to Tony Robbins next week for a week. So I'm really going to be spending a lot of time thinking about the YouTube channel, thinking about how I could add more value, and obviously thinking about how I could build my business and health and fitness. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to bring more value to you guys. So just want to say thank you for watching. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll see you guys soon, and have a great day. Bye.